Good day, everybody. What I want to do is go over your Sago tree maintenance, the importance of maintaining your trees and your palms. And I have maintained these palms up here very well. But over the last few years, once they reach maturity and they started to flower and cone, I've kind of slowed down on how well I've taken care of them. So I'm starting to want to get them caught back up, get them trimmed up, and I am going to show you that process. And I just want to go over some tips to get them to get big like this and to continue to get them to stay healthy. But once you plant a sago, and I have a video on planting a sago, it's not rocket science. You just want to make sure you got a well-drained soil. They don't develop a real big root system. Other than they do develop a long tap root, which is why they can go a long period of time without water, because that tap root will keep them, find moisture and keep them alive. But you just need a well drained soil, and if you plant them near your house, you want to plant them at least 3 or 4 feet away from your house, so you want to have plenty of room for them to grow in advance. So that's very simple to do. But after you plant them and they start sprouting, what you want to do is, at the end of the growing season in the fall, I recommend just cutting them all the way back. And a lot of people don't like doing that because they don't like the way they look, but that is a very good thing to do the first 4 or 5 years of that growth cycle, because what that does, early in the spring, it'll put out another sprout at the center. And then generally what'll happen, as long as you planted it right and it's got good well-drained soil, you do want to make sure you get a certain amount of moisture, a certain amount of watering during those first few years, till they develop a real strong tap root. But you really want to, it should advance, put at least 3 sprouts a year, and you want to do everything you can to get 3 sprouts a year out of it, because every time it sprouts out the center, that tree is advancing. It's gonna get taller and wider. And to me, I like the way sago palms look when they get some height to them. I don't know how. I've talked to people that don't really care about all that, want them to stay low. But I like mine getting tall and big. So you're gonna get more of that out of it the more times it sprouts. So the best thing to do is to cut it back the end of each growing season. Cut it all the way back and do that for the first 4 or 5 years. You want to get as much growth out of you can before they reach maturity, and they usually reach maturity around 15 to 20 years old. And what they'll do is they will start putting out a flower. The females will put out a flower and seeds, and then the male will put out a cone. And you really don't know which variety you have a male or female, until they reach maturity and they start coning or putting out the seeds. And to me, it seems like the females get a little bit bigger than the males. So if you see it getting real big and wide, you might have a female, but you don't know for sure until it start to put out that sprout and put out those seeds. But once they start doing that, they will slow down on growing, because they'll start dedicating the next 3 or 4 years straight to coning each year and putting out the seeds each year. So that takes so much energy out of them. A lot of times you don't get a sprout out of them, even though but you can get sprouts out of the center, if you make sure you clean out those seeds and trim all of the foliage off of it, and take that cone out of it. When that cone reach maturity, you'll know, because it'll start dying and leaning. Go ahead and cut that cone out the center of it, and that will encourage you to get some growth out of it that year. So you want to maintain them, do some maintenance for them. Every time they seed a cone, you want to go ahead and do some maintenance too. Another thing you want to do is keep those pups away from it. I got to get these pups from up under there. So those right there, I can make some new plants out of that. One thing that these sago palms will do is they'll want to, after they get mature, they'll want to put out 2 or 3 different heads. Like this one here got 2 major heads growing on it. And the better you maintain them and the better you keep them trimmed back, it'll encourage it from not doing that. Same as here, you can see I've done a little trimming back to it. I can do some more trimming back to it, but you'll see that it's starting to put these little heads out at the side, and to me that is not very attractive. I can pull those off of there, so I'm thinking about just taking them off. But you want to encourage all your growth to come out of the top of that sago. That's, to me, the most beautiful sago palm is when you all your growth is coming out the top. But it does take maintenance and keeping them trimmed back, keeping the pups from under it, and doing maintenance on it every time it seeds. It takes that kind of effort to keep them growing right out of the top. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna go ahead and get these things trimmed up, and I'll be right back with you. Okay, I got them all trimmed back. Quick pointer on trimming them back. When you trim them back, you want to trim those prongs back all the way as far back as you can to the base of the plant, at least about 1 inch, because what'll happen, they'll eventually die, and it'll give you kind of a nice smooth finish later. Whereas if you leave them kind of long, then they won't die and fall off as fast, and you don't have to do maintenance later. So by cutting them close to the base of the plant, it'll keep you having to do a step later to make them look better. So I cut it all the way out, and I cleared out all of the old flower heads and seeds. And I can tell it did it 3 times because I had 3 layers of seeds to get out of there, and it's got 1 new layer that I'm about to clear out of there. And I can tell that the male coned each time it flowered because I had 3 cones to take out. So, and that's generally how it'll work. If you got a female real close to the male, it'll generally like entices it to cone. But anyway, I did the same thing here. Took out some of the pups growing on the side of the plant and cleared out all the seeds and everything. And so it's vital to maintain your sagos, especially when they start reaching maturity. You want to focus all that energy to grow at the top of the plant, because if you don't, then it'll start taking on, like this one right here is starting to take on 2 heads, and they start to put those suckers out on the side that I took out of there. There's 2 of the ones that I took out of there, and I'm gonna actually pot these and see if they'll grow into some good palms. I've never potted any other than the pups. I never potted one from the base of the plant, and you can see that's where it came off the base. And sago palms, they have a unique ability to kind of heal themselves, so they'll form a scalp. So I keep an eye on that. If they don't form a scalp, I put a little bit of pruning spray in there, but I think it'll be fine. When they do cone, or when they do flower, you know, go ahead and do some cleanup each time, and it'll, you know, cut down on it forming those two heads like that. It'll, you know, put all the energy, it'll just force it to put all the energy back at the top of the plant. And to me, they look better when they, you know, when they don't do that, you know. So that's part of maintaining them. So another thing I got to do is I got to remove these pups. Now I'm gonna wait till next spring to pull these pups out of here. They're not, it's October now, so the weather is finna get cool, so they're probably not gonna do anything but sit there. So I let them sit there under the base of the plant, and I'll take them out you know, later this spring, like I stated, in pot. I don't know if it's guaranteed or not, but you know, I try to separate the female pups that I grow in a pot from the male pups, you know, because I feel like that is going to be a great chance that it's going to be a male plant. So the advantage of doing that, knowing from the get-go if you got a male or a female, I don't have much room because they don't get as big. And then as long as you don't plant them around any females, they probably a cone every now and then, just after they get a certain level of maturity, but they probably won't cone every year, which means, you know, you don't have to deal with as much maintenance, and you probably get better growth out of a male if you just plant it by itself with a whole lot of other males. Now the females the same way, you know, if you like a bigger plant, because to me they get bigger and taller and have a little bit more girth to them. Like the way the bigger Sagos look, then you may want to stick with just the females. And if you just have just females, now the thing about females, they will, after they reach a certain level of maturity, they will flower, you know, every other year or every year. But they won't be fertile seeds, you know, if there's no male around them. But so they can be a little bit more messier once they get, you know, mature to care for, because it's a little more maintenance to get clearing those seeds out of there. But they do, to me, look like they turn into a bigger, prettier plant. But I hope this video encourages you to maintain your Sagos. I'm vowing to never let my Sagos get this bad again. I'm gonna, you know, do maintenance to them every year, especially if they're right up close to your house, you know, part of your landscape. You really don't want them let them get out of hand. If you just follow those little tips, and like I say, keep them trimmed back, keep the pups from around them, they'll stay healthy and they'll do fine. You want to, like I say, encourage that growth to go at the top of the plant. Anyway, thanks for watching, and please subscribe.